Hello everybody, and welcome to the City Skylines mod / traffic tutorial series that we're going to be putting together. This is going to be focused around fixing traffic using some of the popular mods that are on the workshop. And we are going to start at the absolute ground floor. We are going to start off by literally getting the mods. How do we get the mods? Well, it's actually incredibly simple. Open up Steam here. I'm going to go to City Skylines in our Steam library and just go down until we find the workshop. Browse the workshop. There are 4 mods that we're going to grab. Well, 4.5 mods that we're going to grab right now. And I think this is the minimum standard. This is the minimum standard. If you're someone that doesn't really want to mod their game up too much, these are essential. These are the ones you need regardless of that. You can add 100 more mods on top of this if you want, but these are the minimum standard. These are the ones that we're going to be using throughout the tutorial to fix every single traffic issue we have is going to be fixed with these mods alone. So first one is going to be Traffic Manager. We can even go in order of importance here. Traffic Manager is the #1 most important mod. We're just going to type in Traffic Manager into the search bar here, and we're just going to look for one that has like a bajillion stars here. I mean, this one is the Traffic Manager President Edition. This is the one we want. This is the one we want. Okay, so we're going to grab this. And the way we're going to do that is we're just going to hit subscribe. It's been automatically added to your subscriptions. Some games require you to relaunch them before the game. Okay, so and we can notice that we've downloaded this Steam Workshop content. Cool. So we've downloaded the mod. It's downloaded. Let's hit back a couple times here. Let's go to the next one, which is going to be Move It. Move It. Okay, 5 stars. This looks like it. So look for the one that looks like the official one. There's going to be a link to all of the mods down below in the description. Okay, so here it's saying item requires all the following items in order to function properly. Well, from experience, I know that in this case, no, we don't care about props. We're not going to be using props really. That's just, those are more recommended mods. Sometimes they're essential mods. It depends. You kind of have to read down here to see what's going on. But in this case, we just want the base Move It. We don't need to get extra stuff. We got Move It. Subscribed. Next thing we're going to do is find road tools. Now, admittedly, this is sort of optional. We are going to be able to do all this stuff with Move It, but it's a little bit easier if we have Find Road Tools. So Find Road Tools, we'll talk about all this in the game, but if you think about it, Move It lets you fix something after you make it. Find Road Tools lets you fix something before you, like lets you create something in the way that you want before you have to go back and fix it. So this is going to just make our life a little bit easier if we have Find Road Tools. And to go with Find Road Tools, we also want Find Road Anarchy. It's sort of like a little extension to the Find Road Tools. We'll take a look at what all these mods mean in a bit. So the last mod, this one is absolutely optional, but I think it's pretty important. Network extensions. And we're going to look for, again, 5 stars, network extensions 2. And naturally, number 2 is probably going to be more updated than whatever this is. We're going to grab network extensions 2. And hit subscribe. All right, all of these have been downloading, which is great. Check here and see, okay, we got something that's downloading here. This is the network extensions mod. And in the game, we will break down exactly what all these mods do for us. Okay, so cool. Ready to play. Right on. Let's go back to our library. Let's launch the game here. Let's launch the game. Get in there. I think the first episode here is going to be just a look at what are these mods, and just on a basic level, what do they do? And then we're going to load up a map that has some traffic issues, and we're going to actually apply the mods to the traffic. But in this first one, in this first episode, all we're going to do is just look at the mods themselves. Okay, so tutorial start. I've already sort of set this up a little bit. This isn't something that I've created. 1 second here, just switching scenes. There we go. This is one of the scenarios, but I've gone in and sort of like set the stage a little bit more. I'm trying to sort of create a little bit of traffic here. We'll see what happens, but I did not make this city. This is one of the scenarios in, I think, Green Cities. It came with Green Cities. So just to note, we are playing with all the DLCs, although none of those are going to be particularly relevant. I don't think any of them are going to really affect traffic. Mass transit adds a few different road types, which are pretty useful, but we'll figure it out either way. Network extension adds a bunch of road types. That's ultimately why we wanted to grab it. So again, we're not too concerned with the city here. The city's just going to be doing its thing in the background. So we have, oh, wow, guys, we made a mistake. Or maybe this is an interesting learning experience here. I'm looking for move it down here. I'm not seeing it. I'm looking for move it down here. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing, where are my mods? None of my mods are activated. None of my mods are activated. We got to go to the main menu. We forgot to actually turn the mods on. This is probably something that 9 out of 10 people modding their game are going to do the first time. For this, don't worry about all this. This is probably because I have other things like loaded in the background. You might see the errors, you might not. It's not a big deal. We're not going to worry about it. So what we're going to do is we need to go to the content manager. Okay. So we've installed the mods, right? Like our computer has them downloaded, but in our settings, we don't have them activated. We're going to go to the content manager. We're going to go to mods. And I have some other stuff here. We're not going to turn any of this stuff on. The only stuff we're going to use is the stuff that we just downloaded. So we are looking for Find Road Tools, Find Road Anarchy, and Find Road Tool. Okay, cool. Now we're going to be looking for Move It. There it is. Network extensions. All right. Finally, the Traffic Manager mod Resident Edition. Cool. Grab those. And we're just going to keep all the options defaulted. And we'll look at any important options once we get into the game. Let's go back to that. So now what we've done is we've literally, right, we've checked this box on off. It's now checked. It's highlighted blue. So this is now good to go. We are good to go here. When we load this game now, we should see some new icons on the screen that help guide us towards, well, that show us how to interact with the mods that we've downloaded. How to use their power. But really, I think this episode is just going to be sort of a foundational episode, right? Sort of a setup. It's not even really going to be part 1 of the traffic fixing tutorial. It's just kind of, this is the preliminary episode to sort of get everybody on the same page here. Okay. So let's look at the mods in order of sort of just not like least complex to most complex here. So the network extensions mod is the simplest one to explain. If we go into here, we're going to see new road types. Okay, city's giving us a bunch of money. Great, thanks. So we could see that none of these would exist in the base game. We have a 3-lane one-way. We have a 2-lane, a small 4-lane road. We have a asymmetrical 4-lane road. We can go through here and we can see, okay, there's an asymmetrical 6-lane road, asymmetrical 5-lane, so on and so forth. We just get a bunch of different road types. That's the point of it. Apparently we don't have all the roads unlocked. There's some extra ones added, 4-lane highways. Actually, a 2-way highway with sound barriers, so there's a one-lane, one-way road. There's a bunch of stuff. I think I've actually deactivated some of them. So you can actually go into here. Here's our mod settings here. We can go to network extensions. We can see I've actually deactivated a bunch of this stuff. But we can, if any of these road types sound interesting to you, we can actually just activate them and deactivate them. I have the ones that I typically use activated, but there's no real harm in just having them all activated. You just have to shift through them, or sift through them every single time you want to build a road. Is the only reason why I deactivate them. But it's kind of nice to see all the options, because you never know. There's always that weird situation where that odd road is going to be exactly what you need to fix the traffic issues. So it just adds new road types, right? Road types that would exist in real life. I mean, we can create little slip lanes with this. 3-lane one-ways. I mean, this is huge. This is hugely important, you know what I mean? So this really just kind of fills the gap where the vanilla kind of like keeps us a little bit handicapped there. So network extensions adds more road types. That's why I also said it was optional, because more road types is amazing, but not strictly required to fix traffic issues. You can fix them with just the vanilla road types. That's fine. The other thing we're going to take a look at is, let's take a look at Move It. Let's take a look at Move It here. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to see, can we buy another tile? Just to get some space to kind of like play around with. So let's build just a basic road. Base game, basic road. Here we go. So Move It, the best way to describe Move It is once you've built something, you can move it. A couple things going on here. So if we grab, here's Move It down here in the bottom right. And again, we'll be using these mods constantly throughout the tutorial, so it'll be something that we reiterate over and over and over again. But for now, Move It's in the bottom right here. I'm just going to click on it. I'm going to make sure that I have the single selection tool selected. By default, it should automatically be selected. There's a bunch of other stuff here that's really, really cool, but it's sort of extra detail that we don't need to work on. So as we can see, we're highlighting these different nodes within the roads. We're also highlighting the segments and nodes. We can even highlight buildings. So if we click on the building, we can now move it. We can literally move it by holding right click. We can twist it around. By holding left click, we can drag it around. In fact, look at this. It doesn't even, like, collision is not a thing. Look at this. We could literally have the park like this. And if there weren't trees popping up here, it'd actually look pretty spectacular. Pretty spectacular. You know what I mean? So we can do whatever we want with Move It. We can move buildings and stuff. We can, and this is cool too. What if we accidentally built it over here, but we don't want to pay the price to move it over here? Booyah, done. We have it readjusted. Still doesn't have power though. Now, most important, most of the time that I'm using Move It, I'm using it on roads. So what I like to do is mostly use it on the roads to get the right shapes for the roads. So we can move the nodes around. We can actually move the nodes around. We can hold shift to grab multiple nodes. Move these together at the same angles. Okay, so that looks like a 90 now. Now here's something really cool. Let's smooth this out. Let's move this over here. Now let's smooth this out. We can grab the segments. We can grab the segments and actually bend the roads without moving the nodes. As we can see, now it's smooth. That's pretty cool. In fact, we can take what was a straight road and bend it into any shape we want. Not only can we bend the road, but we can actually bend the point at which it bends, or change the point at which it bends. I'm moving it like this. We do whatever, we could do crazy stuff with this, literally crazy stuff. One of the cool things that, let's check this out. You know this really annoying issue in the base game? When you're trying to build here, and it's saying like, it doesn't like that angle. Why can't we build there? Why can't we build at that sharp angle? Why can't we have this coming in? So if we look at it like a one-way road, right? Why can't we have this coming in like nice and straight? See, I want this to be straight. I want these to effortlessly just flow into there. I don't want there to be an outward bend like that. We can come in with Move It. Straighten these roads. He's taking this circle and putting it on the other circle. There we go. We now have something that is impossible to make in the base game. That angle is too sharp. This angle is too small for the base game, but this will work just fine. And I can tell you that the Sims will easily be able to get through this. They won't even hesitate to drive on this road. In fact, I've noticed this isn't quite straight, so we can continue to do this. Make it even straighter. So they'll just be flowing at high speed right through this intersection and into this system. Move it at its finest right there, guys. So that's one of the things I love to do with Move It. Here's the cool thing though, guys. Let's transition over to Find Road Tools. So we built a system and then we used Move It to fix it, right? We used Move It to fix it. What if we actually come in here? What if we don't even want to use Move It to fix it? We can open up this menu over here in the bottom left. This opens up our Find Road Tools. So what this is going to allow us to do is, again, we still can't do that unless we uncheck Toggle Road Bending. So that's literally this bending that's going on, right? Is literally because of that. We can uncheck that and it will now make it straight, but it's still saying space already occupied. So it's still giving us grief here, but it is allowing us to at least make the straight road that we want. That's when anarchy comes in. Remember how we got anarchy for Find Road Tools? Anarchy literally lets you avoid collision. So if we flip on anarchy here, this A, toggle road anarchy, booyah. Now we've deselected toggle road bending, which still is going to try to bend, so we deselect that. And there we go. We can now build the road. In fact, we can build the road that we created with Move It on our first try without Move It. But maybe we can still come in with Move It here, using shift click to grab those nodes. We can still twist this around maybe. Whoops. We can still twist that around to get the Y shape that we wanted, right? We could play around with this maybe. Maybe we did want to bend here. Maybe we wanted it to bend in like this for an aesthetic reason or something, right? Maybe this comes in like this. Maybe we have this coming in at 90, like sort of like not a 90-degree angle. I'm sorry, maybe like maybe a 120-degree angle. You know, so we can use, like, we can sculpt the roads to our imagination there very easily. So that's what we're going to be doing with Find Road Tools. You can do some other cool things with Find Road Tools. Like there's modes here. This is just the default. This is this is ground, and this is elevated. So if we do ground, here's something kind of cool, right? So in the base game, building a road. Hey, we're building a road, right? We elevate with page up, page down. Creates this overpass looking thing. With Find Road Tools, we could say, no, we'd like the ground to actually conform to the height of the road. So now the ground has actually been pulled up to the road. Here's something kind of interesting too. Let's say there's a ditch down here. Come on, help me out here, game. Now, if we do base game here, it actually, like, there's a moment when it actually tries to do something like this. But if we say, or here, let's see, what does it look like here? Like, so maybe, here's something. Maybe we want this. This is actually a really interesting situation here. Maybe we want this to not... See how the ground's being pulled up to this part of the road? It's hugging the ground here. We don't want that. So let's go into the elevated mode. Go to the upgrade and just switch that back. So now it's in an elevated mode. So it's still kind of like weird because it's dipped down, but it's not hugging the ground down here. So that's when we come in with Move It. Grab this node. Raise it up. Beautiful. Beautiful. Look at that. Look at that. Exactly what we wanted. We could actually come in here and, you know, extend the road, and we could see that, okay, now that's not looking the way we want. We go back to ground. We go back to upgrade. We upgrade that. Now it's hugging the ground. Look at this. This is fantastic. This is absolutely fantastic. So there we go. And here's the thing. We're noticing that, look how it sort of just starts hugging the ground almost immediately. And here it doesn't. Let's fix that. Again, Move It. Move It. Grabbing this node. We're actually going to scoot. We can scoot with the arrow keys if we want to be very, very, very precise. We can scoot with the arrow keys. We're actually going to drag this over. This section here that's hugged to the ground, we're going to drag this over to the edge to make this more even. See, now it looks more symmetrical, except for the fact that this is maybe a bit too tall. There we go. Another thing that's kind of awkward here is this one pillar. Shouldn't there be maybe two? We can use, there's a trick with Move It. We can actually copy and paste things with Move It. So we have this pillar selected. Well, actually we had the node. This is the node. The circle is the node. The pillar is the square. So now we have the pillar selected. Let's actually go down here and hit copy. Hey, now we have another pillar. We can actually put this here on our bridge. Now it looks kind of goofy, but we have it selected so we can page down and lower it just below the road. And now we have two pillars. Look at that. Pretty snazzy. Pretty snazzy. The cool thing about Move It is we can actually take this and just copy the park if we want. We can copy whatever we want. It's pretty neat. So that's kind of a cheat, right? Because we didn't have to pay for this park. We're still paying a maintenance on it, probably. Yeah, it's still just a park. We're still paying a maintenance on it. It functions perfectly. But we didn't have to pay for the actual copying of it. But then we could actually be like, okay, well, we wanted to move it to there anyways, so we could just delete that one. We've already paid for it once. We don't need to pay for it twice, right? The cool thing is with Anarchy, though, if we actually go back to Anarchy, right? So Anarchy, we use that to build roads that sort of collided on each other. We can actually use Anarchy to build anything to collide on each other. We can actually build this clinic right in here. And again, they will function. It will function just fine. Heck, we can now go in and use Move It, kind of adjust this a little bit. There's still overlap, but see how this clinic is now sort of at the corner here? And we have this park here. I mean, this actually looks really cool. I might have to use this in one of my cities. This actually looks really neat. I like that. I like that a lot. So this is kind of the power of Move It and Anarchy. In combination, there's nothing you can't do. There's nothing you can't do. That's actually really, really cool. So now we're kind of using this space. We're kind of getting a park, but we're also getting a service. And of course, Anarchy lets you build on roads too, right? Now, to actually be able to build on a road, you have to turn off road collision. So I mean, we could build the hospital here. I mean, don't get me wrong. This is just goofy. That's just goofy. But we could, and it would work, and everything would function just fine. All right, so we've looked at the three more simplistic but still limitlessly important and highly useful mods that are road network extensions and just new roads. That's pretty simple. We'll just see how those can be used when we actually start playing around. Then we did Move It, which, I mean, literally Move It is so powerful. You can do whatever you want with Move It. That's really the #1 mod here. I mean, you could find road tools can be replaced with Move It, right? You can do things the hard way with Move It. Find road tools is just sort of the shortcut to some of the little tricks. Some of the little tricks are just nice, but really it's when you start combining Move It and Find Road Tools that things get fantastic. So the funny thing is we have this city here, right? And the idea was we're going to use the city to demonstrate the 4th and final mod, Traffic Manager. But I think we're going to take a pause in this video here, and hopefully the pace of this was appropriate. But if you think about it, we've looked at Move It. We've downloaded all the mods. We've looked at Move It. We've looked at Find Road Tools, and we've looked at Anarchy. Now we're going to look at the 4th piece of it. Just go through sort of the basic, what we can do with Traffic Manager President Edition. We're just going to look at what we can do with it. And then we're going to move into the actual part 1, and we're going to try to actually solve traffic issues with these mods and see how these mods actually function in the game to help us solve issues. So thank you so much, everybody, for watching this episode. I will see you guys in the next one.